the able chairmanship of Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea, and to the rest of the hardworking, dedicated officers and personnel of the ASEAN NOC. Thank you very much. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you, Ambassador Painor. Villar, of the three pillars of Esther Sirunay, Chief of Staff, Office of the Director General for Next, Gloria Georgina Hota, Chief of Staff, Office of the Director General for Operations. Thank you. Next is Ms. Novelin Palek, Committee Head of Food and Beverage. Thank you. Next is Colonel Raul Payuran, Committee Head of Airport Operations. Thank you. Next will be Lieutenant Colonel George Cabreros, Committee Head of Liaison Service. Next will be Lieutenant Colonel Michael McKillen, Committee Head of Transportation Services. Thank you. Next is First Lieutenant Sirian Rosero, Head of IT and Registration Services. Ms. Glenda Manalastas, Special Assistant to the Next, Social Secretary's Office to be received by Assistant Executive Secretary Annalyn Tolentino. Next, the Internal House Affairs Office to be received by Undersecretary Jopi Avanceno. Thank you very much, Executive Secretary and Ambassador Painor. Proceed to the awarding of the presidential citations for individuals and agencies. These citations are given by the President to individuals and agencies in recognition of their involvement in 2017. At this point, award the presidential citation to the Department of Interior and Local Government. Thank you. Next will be Attorney Araceli Villanueva, Deputy Director General for Tourism and Special Events Services. Thank you. Next will be Mr. Reginald Bernabe, ASEAN NOC Deputy Director General for Conference Management Services. Ronald Pondok, ASEAN NOC Assistant Deputy Director for Administration and Logistics. Next will be Ambassador Marciano Painor Jr., ASEAN NOC Director General for Operations and on behalf of the ASEAN NOC. And Assistant Secretary Juniver Mahilum West. By Assistant Secretary Maria Edita Tan. To be received by Secretary Mark Villar. Next will be the Department of Labor and Employment. Next will be the Department of National Defense to be received by Undersecretary Cardozo Luna. Ramon Lopez. Next, Department of Social Welfare and Development to be received by Secretary Rolando Joselito. Next, Department of Interior and Local Government to be received by Secretary. Next, Department of Information and Communication Technology to be received by Acting Secretary Eliseo Embro Jr. Communication Operations Office to be received by Secretary Jose Ruperto Martin Andanar. Costa, Assistant Secretary Kelvin, and Director Israelita Reyes. The Office of Presidential Protocol to be received by Mr. Robert E.A. Borge. Next, Basis and Conversion and Development Authority to be received by President Vivencio Dizon. Armed Forces of the Philippines to be received by Chief of Staff General Carlito Galvez Jr. Philippine National Police to be received by Police Director Edwin Roque. Presidential Security Group to be received by Colonel Jose Ariel Niembra. Province of Pampanga to be received by Governor Lilia Pineda. Be received by Mayor Edgardo Pamintuan. Next, Manila International Airport Authority to be received by General Manager Eddie Monreal. Next, Clark International Airport. Next, Department of Budget and Management Executive Director Pingle Gutierrez. Finally, Department of Energy Under Secretary Benito Ranque. Then, and Executive Secretary. At this juncture, we shall now proceed to the awarding of the Order of Lapu-Lapu. The Order of Lapu-Lapu was established in 2017 and is conferred by the President of the Philippines in recognition of in significantly advancing a campaign or advocacy of the President in an activity pursuant to a campaign or advocacy of the President. Is hereby posthumously awarded to Police Officer 1, Mark A. Mendoza. To receive the award is the wife of the late Police Officer 1, Mark A. Mendoza, Misty Mendoza, and their son. Thank you, Mr. President. Of Datu Gold. The citation reads, Malacanang Palace, be it known to all men by these presents, that I, Rodrigo Roa Duterte, President of the Philippines, by virtue of the powers vested in me by law, have caused to be inscribed in the roster of the Order of Sikatuna, the names of Salvador C. Medaldea, Executive Secretary and Chairman of the ASEAN National Organizing Committee, Ramon of Datu, Grand Cross, Gold Distinction, done in the city of. May we now call on the Order of ASEAN National Organizing Committee to be accompanied by Attorney Betty Medialdea and Paulo Medialdea. Thank you. Next, Ramon M. Lopez, Secretary of Trade and Industry. Next, Ramon S. Lopez. Thank you. Thank you. Next, Alan Peter S. Cayetano, former Secretary of Foreign Affairs. Now may we call on Executive
ng Pilipinas.
Kindly sit down. Thank you. Executions Ambassador Shano Pino, headed us in government, the distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am almost tempted to, hindi ako nag-ano, I'm not trying to pull a leg somewhere. You know, we start at 8:30 in the morning. And we end up almost 10, 11. Nandyan may sila lahat. And it's everywhere. Lahat ng mga as if he is contemplating of his oil, hindi talaga kaya. You have to give that to the technical working group or at least on the lower echelons sa ministerial. Nakita man ninyo? And I think kasi mga tao dyan, puro revolutionary. Hindi talaga. I don't know how Bisaya, I have to have solved the for our government. I never, Museum of Police Officer, one mark duty, integration. A challenging task that required us to